It's somewhere, working upstairs, my husband.
Do not watch the video if you haven't seen the film yet, because I don't want to ruin it for everybody just for the sake of my audience retention. Now let's roll. Typically in a courtroom drama, we always come to a conclusion, and here it's no different as well, because the court doesn't find Sandra responsible for the death of her husband. But that's the thing. Court didn't find her guilty. What about you? The entire concept of the film is so simple yet so intriguing, because what are the odds of this actually happening in real life? A husband is found dead and the wife is the suspect, and their visually impaired boy and the dog are the only witnesses. This scenario feels almost heavenly when it comes to writing creatively, and it is not just that. The way they shot it, the documentary style, it was a cherry on top because it added so much realism to the drama. The extra spice was given by the performances of Sandra Hüller, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. She was marvelous throughout. Her nuances during the argument scene and her justification of lying twice were so beautiful to watch that she had me on a hook, leading me to believe that she is innocent. But I guess that's the trap. In the opening scene, which was also played in courtroom, we can clearly see that there was some kind of attraction between Sandra and her student, even her student Zoe, who takes the stand, and even she admits that she thought that Sandra was seducing her, but she didn't think about it at that time. Upon being questioned about it, Sandra clearly lied, and most of us, the audience, we bought it. That's the kind of cobweb that Sandra has created, that we get stuck in it because of her charm and her tone, and she knows that she has that quality to manipulate people, and it almost always works. We are never shown exactly that outright, but there are instances where Sandra can be seen using her manipulation to get whatever she wants from people. For example, when Sandra and Vincent talks about their past, and it's implied that they maybe were a thing back then, and Sandra immediately asks Vincent if he thinks she's killed Samuel. She kind of gets the doubt out of Vincent's mind in a very subtle way, because she has this way with words that can make you fool. That is what she did with Samuel's novel. She knew that he was going to be a great writer. She knew he was about to become famous had he finished and published his novel. But she stole that idea and portrayed that Samuel gave up on it. During their argument, which is by far one of the best written argument I've ever seen between a couple since Marriage Story, we find out that not only is she violent, but she has also cheated on Samuel multiple times. There was no deliberate feeling of getting fed any information, but that argument felt genuine in terms of how characters were talking, and it was clearly well established that Sandra was the bad guy here. Her selfishness, her jealousy about the father-son duo having a better relationship, and her insecurities when it comes to giving his husband some time so that he could also write. All of these traits and information provides you one thing. Sandra is a compulsive liar. Every time she was accused of something, she either dodged it mildly or outright denied it. That is part of her personality. Even though we didn't see any scene that outright suggests or gives you an idea that Sandra killed her husband, we can connect the dots very well and say that she did kill him. But what prompted me the most to make this video is how the director Justin Triet crafted the ending of the film and the idea behind it. She underlined the ending on the basis of Daniel's testimony, and that was a masterstroke in terms of both writing and direction, because that was something that I don't think anybody has done. That idea of giving you something within the confinements of the world that we are experiencing in front of our eyes was executed perfectly, because it truly works. Daniel's testimony had a lot of red flags, and ever since the beginning, Daniel was never a reliable source. He was constantly changing and contradicting his own statements, and at the end, he did something that was not expected, but we all should have seen it coming. He lied. He made up a story because he had to make a decision, and he did. He made up a story of his father taking him and Snoop to the vet where the dog wasn't seen, where we see Samuel's lips sink as in he's speaking Daniel's words. That was a lie to protect his mother, and he succeeded. Another thing that also proves that Sandra might have killed her husband is that their boy Daniel is also somewhat violent, because to prove his theory, he put his dog's life on the line in order to see if he is right or wrong. And nobody can tell me that his actions are right. Clearly the boy has the same violent nature as his mother, so I guess it is all in the genes. In the end, Sandra played the court, Sandra played the law, Sandra even played Vincent, and most importantly, Sandra played us all. She had us wrapped all around her fingers and we all danced along with it. That is how a performance should be. Sandra Hüller's performance is most definitely going to give everybody a run for their money when the award season begins. Now, what do you think about the end? Do you think she did it? I think she did kill Samuel. Maybe I'm wrong and I overanalyzed it and it could all be the way we saw it play out. Let me know what you think. Also, shout out to Messi, the dog who is by far the most talented pet artist I have ever come across. He deserves an honorary academy for his own performance. Thank you everyone.